Hello again, everyone, and welcome to A Shortstop with a Shortstop. Today we're going to talk a little bit about coming through in the clutch.
And the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall arise,
I can always remember spring training. The catchers and pitchers have reported already now. They're in Florida and they're in Arizona. They're getting ready for the baseball season to start. And everybody's equal right now. Nobody's got any wins. Nobody's got any losses. But there's a lot of memories that I've got watching baseball and some of the older films of people coming through in the clutch. And I can't help but bring up Freddie Freeman from the last year of the World Series. In the first game, you know, they're down 3-2, but he's got bases loaded, and he hits a walk-off grand slam to win the very first game. And then in 1960, seventh game of the World Series, you got Bill Mazeroski. He was a second baseman with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they're playing the New York Yankees. And he hits a walk-off home run in the seventh game of the World Series to win that game. He came through in the clutch. And then I can't help but remember this one. This is my favorite one. In 1951, the Giants were playing the Dodgers. They tied the regular season. So they had to have a 3-game playoff to see who goes to the World Series. And the Giants win the first game, but the Dodgers win the second one. They're playing at the Polo Grounds in New York City. And the Giants are down by a run. And Bobby Thompson comes up to bat with the 2 runners on. And he hits one up into the left field stands, but the radio announcer just went on. He said it about 10 times. He said, "The Giants win the pennant, the Giants win the pennant, the Giants win the pennant," and he just wouldn't shut up. He just kept on. He was that excited. Everybody was running out on the field, and Bobby Thompson just absolutely came through. But the thing about it was, there was only one out at the time, and the on-deck hitter was Willie Mays. He would have had a shot to win it too, but Bobby Thompson, it's called the shot heard round the world. And it just demoralized the Dodgers, and every time I watch it or hear about it, it just brings a smile on my face that the Dodgers got beat. But anyway, in Matthew chapter 27 and verse 32, it says, there was a certain man from Cyrene, his name was Simon, and they stopped him and made him pick up the cross of Jesus Christ. And he came through in the clutch. Jesus had been beaten. He had been mocked and just absolutely demoralized. And he was weak and probably couldn't carry his own cross. But Simon picked up the cross and carried it. And he came through in the clutch. There's going to be some days that we have to carry our cross. And that's what Christ wants us to do. But there can be other days that we can see people that are down, that are hurting, that need something, and we can help them to carry their cross. We can come through in the clutch. And that's exactly what Simon did. And then if we look in Acts chapter 10, in verse 1, it says this. Now there was a certain man at Caesarea named Cornelius, a centurion, of what was called the Italian cohort, a devout man and one who feared God with all his household and gave many alms to the Jewish people, and he prayed to God continually. Cornelius was a good man, but the thing about it was, he wanted to do what God wanted him to do. And Peter preached to him and told him what he needed to do to be saved, but Cornelius literally picked up and carried the cross for his whole family. Because if you look at the verses 10 through 18, after they were preached to, it says that he and his whole household were baptized and were added to the church. So we as fathers as mothers sometimes, even children, we can help pick up the cross for our family and carry it for them sometimes when they may be going through some type of difficulty. And Cornelius was that type of guy. He was a devout man. He gave alms. He prayed continually. But what it did, it saved his whole family. And we need to be that type of people to pick up the cross whenever it's needed. And thirdly and lastly, we have a guy by the name of Ananias. And Paul had seen a bright light on the road to Damascus, and he had gone on into Damascus, but God told Ananias to go to Damascus, and there's going to be a guy there by the name of Saul. And he said, you need to tell him what to do. And he was afraid. He said, I've heard that he's put people in jail, and he had letters from the Jewish leaders, and that he was able to just about do anything he wanted to Christians, and which he had been. But Ananias went anyway. And when he got there, Saul was sitting in the corner, and he told him what he needed to do to be saved. And he said, why tarriest thou? Arise and be baptized, and wash away thy sins, calling on the name of the Lord. But there's going to be some times that we're afraid to do what God wants us to do. We may feel like we may be humiliated, or somebody's going to say something, or possibly even harm us physically. But Ananias picked up the cross, and he went and told Paul what he needed to do. And it came from a human vessel as far as what the gospel plan of salvation was to the Apostle Paul. But we sometimes need to be an Ananias. Sometimes we need to be a Cornelius. And then sometimes we need to be a Simon. But let's carry our own cross, but let's help other people carry theirs when it's needed. Let's come through in the clutch. Thank you again for being with a Shortstop with a Shortstop.